Welcome to The Good Work, a podcast and video series that follows The Event Company, an event design company that specializes in corporate, nonprofit, and social events. Our passion lies in creating one-of-a-kind events that share the good work of organizations we are fortunate to collaborate with. Tune in for conversations with leaders of these great groups, our best advice for your next event, and some behind-the-scenes moments. Now, let us show you the good work. In today's episode of The Good Work, Addie will be joined by Sarah Mogg and Maddie Westra from the Hilton Garden Inn located in downtown Sioux Falls. This duo will share their knowledge about the hospitality industry, their best advice for selecting the perfect venue for your event, and why Sioux Falls is such a special community, especially for hosting events. Please welcome to today's podcast, Sarah Mogg and Maddie Westra. Welcome to today's vodcast. I am super thrilled to have my best friend, look at her, Sarah Mogg and Maddie Westra. I love you too, Maddie.
I was like, wait.
Maddie Westra from the Hilton Garden Inn downtown with us today. Thanks for being here, you two.
You're welcome. For having us.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we are excited to talk all things venue, but also to hear a little bit more about how Hilton Garden Inn downtown gives back to the community. Because you're not just hosting events day in and day out. Well, you are. You're an incredible hotel as well, but there's so much that you do back to the community and give back to them. But before we get into all that, I want to hear about your histories and your past. Like, how did you get into this industry? Because hospitality is hard work, right?
Right, for sure. Yes.
Nobody calls down to the front desk and is like, I need a towel, and somebody brings it up to you 7 days later, right? Like, our clients expect prompt response. We're in hospitality. You are as well. So I want to hear kind of a little bit of your history. Sarah, I'll start with you. Like, talk to us about how you got into hospitality.
So how I ended up as director of sales with Hilton Garden Inn, and my kind of history is I've been in the hospitality industry about 18 years.
Wow. Maddie, that's almost your whole life.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. Totally
add
kidding.
a few and that's how old
Totally
I am.
kidding. Totally kidding.
Yeah, I'm real old. Thanks for the reminder. Best friend.
I keep her young.
Yes, I office with two 20-year-olds, so it's great.
Yeah.
But no, I graduated from South Dakota State with a degree in animal science and literally couldn't find a job. And so I was like, what am I going to do? So I started hostessing and serving at a restaurant that had a convention center attached. I'm like, I can do this. I like people. I like events. I like to party. I think that's why everybody in the event industry gets in. So that's how I started and fell in love with it. You know, it tends to be a little bit of a burnout type of career. So took a little bit of a break and came back to a couple other venues in Sioux Falls and then ended up at the Hilton Garden Inn downtown, and it's been a whirlwind.
You're rocking it, because that venue has been open almost 5 years.
Yeah, 11, 12, 13.
Oh,
so it'll
really?
Be our 5th year birthday.
Super easy to remember.
Yeah,
11,
wow.
12,
There's a reason
13.
people do
Wow.
everything.
Wow. And you've been really leading the charge from that hotel in a lot of different aspects.
Yep, I came in right before our first birthday, and just went crazy. Took that property and really exposed it to a whole new market of people and a whole new way. Opened the creativity of what could be done at that property, and it's been crazy since.
Gosh, I met Sarah, for those of you that are watching and listening, I met Sarah back in another venue. I was hosting events there on the corporate side, nonprofit side, and loved her then. Yes, the stage did fall on me. I mean, that is not normal at events. This is another behind the scenes. But I'm doing this run through at this venue with the CEO of the company. And as we're on the stage, all of a sudden, like falls in, and I'm laying there with the podium laying on top of me. Like, what is happening? And my team at that time, they didn't pick anything up. They just grabbed their phones and started taking videos of it. They thought it was the best thing ever. So yeah, that's where I met Sarah. And honestly, we've connected and been best friends ever since.
Sure.
We've traveled to Vegas together. Actually, we were in Vegas right before you started downtown at the Hilton.
Sure.
So we've been close ever since. And Maddie, I've gotten to know you a lot over this last year.
Yes.
So talk to us about your history and how you got into hospitality.
I grew up in the hospitality world. My dad worked for hotels for a number of years and owns his own restaurant now back in Minnesota. So when I went to school, I was kind of undecided. And
Go Jacks.
Yes. Go big, go blue, go Jacks.
Gosh, where...
The whole sales office is SDSU.
We need a coyote. The whole next one. one's going to be dedicated to the coyotes. We eat you bunnies for breakfast. Okay.
On the day of college orientation, I decided to take up hospitality as my major. Never looked back. I went to school and graduated from SDSU, and then took a job back in Minnesota for a couple years as a director of sales for a hotel and convention center. And then last October, I was lucky enough to secure the director of catering position at the Hilton Garden Inn downtown, and I joined the lovely sales office with Sarah, who's
Maddie
been...
came in applying for a different job, and
Yeah.
surprised her. Here's the actual job you're getting.
I was applying for a different job, and they surprised me in the interview. with
And
the
actually,
director
I
of
have to say,
catering.
you're a perfect fit.
Oh,
You're
thank
so
you.
good with
Thank
clients.
you.
People enjoy working with you. I was just talking to one of our events, the Blue Ball, actually, and she's like, "Oh, Maddie, I just talked to her the other day." So it's things like that. Like you both are really great at building
Absolutely.
relationships. And when we talk about venues, like how much do you think the venue plays in an event? Like, what part does that play in the event itself? Do you think that people put a lot of weight on that piece versus the entertainment or the food? Like, what part does your role, do you feel, play in planning an event?
I think, of course, we're going to say it's the most important.
Yeah.
But I think we're picking your event and the location of your event can kind of drive your whole weekend or your whole event. It can make it very easy, very seamless when you have the right people, in the right spots. But I think it's totally up to the customer, the client, of what is important to them. But we, at the Hilton Garden Inn downtown, totally feel that we can lead a client to us by just creating that initial relationship, listening to them, hearing what is important to them, and almost spinning it in a positive way to reflect that we're the best venue for them.
Yeah, I think that a venue is kind of your foundation. It's a lot of times the first step. It's where are we going to host this event, and what type of event are we wanting to create? And your venue is your atmosphere, and how people feel, and are they comfortable? Is it bright and airy versus dark and gloomy?
Yeah.
All of those things kind of play into effect. So when you first walk into a venue, how do you feel? And how do you want your guests to feel?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think it's always like, I will text you girls, like when we're in meetings, like, is the space open this date? Well, what
Yes.
about this
Yeah.
date? Like, and it's because we've got that relationship, and you guys do such a great job of building those relationships, whether it's with planners or with clients or even those throughout the whole country. I mean, you work with bands and shows and all these people coming in from all walks of life, and it's relationships that you're building, but that's what makes people want to be at the venue, right? I mean, there are other venues, obviously, located throughout the region, throughout Sioux Falls, but it's what makes you unique. It's not just the space, but it's how you sell the space in that essence, and it's your relationships with them, because you don't want to have the venue pick you. Right. And we talk about that with dates, too. Right. You want to pick the venue, and you want to make sure that feeling is portrayed from the first moment that they walk in that door.
Absolutely.
And what that feeling is like what you're saying.
Well, and we look at in our role as their partner. So it's almost a two-way interview when we're site visiting and touring people, because we want them to know that their event is a reflection of what we can do. We don't ever want someone to come in and be like, this is what I want, and it not be feasible, but us to make it happen, and it doesn't make anyone look good. It doesn't make us look good. It doesn't make the client look good, the event planner look good. And so our job is to make both of us look good so that the guests want to come back, the attendees want to come back, but also Maddie and I believe in being very open and available to our customers and our clients and the event planners. We answer emails until all hours of the night. We get phone calls at all hours of the night, but it builds that trust.
Yeah, I think
that we're the first people that they think of.
Yeah, absolutely. Accessibility. I mean, we believe that if people are asking, we're answering, and a lot of times the business that we secure is because we were accessible and able to get back to people right away. And you hear people that's like, well, I left a message and I didn't hear back for a couple weeks. And we don't live by that at all. It's you have a question, we have an answer for you.
I like how you talk about the interview process. I've really never looked at it that way. But it's true, because you need to make sure that you're a good fit for them and vice versa. Nobody wants to go down the path of it being hell from the first moment that they walk in, because it's not going to be good for you, them, their guests that are a part of it. It has to be mutually beneficial for both. I agree with you. Yeah,
and I can speak on behalf of Maddie, is that she works hard, but sometimes there's clients that it's hell on wheels, and sometimes you can know from the beginning, is this worth it? Is what the end result going to be worth it for us? And Or is there a better fit out there? And we just need to sit back and wait for that next best fit.
Yep, absolutely.
So when you talk about waiting, like what are some of your tips that you would give, Maddie, to people that are trying to find a venue space? Like what are tips that you would share with those people? Like, do they need to look at the space? Do they need to look at the dates? Can they, I mean, there's a lot of those things. Is food, is food super important to them? Is AV super important? Because you guys have you have it all. I mean, to be honest, you've got great lighting, screens, you've got the pre-function space, which pre-function, for those of you that are listening or watching, is kind of sometimes it's alongside the river there at the Hilton Garden in downtown, but you can do social hours in that space or have booths out in that area. Like what do you think are some tips that you would give people that are listening or watching if they're planning their next event? What should they look for?
All of the above. It's really a timing thing. Each event time-wise fits into our schedule, with the hotel being attached, where we are very particular with how we book our events and strategically how we fit people in. So it's a timing issue. If you have dates in mind, sometimes flexibility. And when someone is flexible with us, we can be flexible with them. And so that's highly appreciated. I always love meeting face-to-face with people. And I think Sarah speaks for that as well, is getting to know someone in person is so different via email or phone.
Right.
When you actually get to sit down and talk and say, what do you want? What are you looking for? Okay, let's go walk through. Let's go talk through what you're looking for and see how we can fit into that.
Yeah, and being able to customize it. I think those in-person visits are so important because you can get those kind of those mannerisms and just kind of get to know them a little bit differently when you're meeting them in person versus all just through email.
Exactly.
What would you say, either of you really, is one of the biggest reasons why you've been so successful downtown at the Hilton? Is it because you're stepping outside of the box? Is it because of your relationships? Tell me, what do you think is your one biggest asset that you guys have at the Hilton Garden in downtown than anybody else?
I think that our team is probably the hardest working team in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Straight up, we will do anything to ensure a successful event. If our partner, so meaning our client, is willing to give as much as we are, we'll give just as much back. If it's us having to be on the floor or us needing to, I deal a lot with the groups that are coming in, the bands, and my team is right there moving those tour bands in at 3 a.m. So we create those relationships. As the leader of our team, I would never ask Maddie or our sales admin, Libby, to do anything that I would not be willing to do myself. And so that's kind of what we also expect from our clients is that, we expect you to get in the trenches with us and we'll get right in the trenches and make sure you have a successful event or a successful stay.
Yeah, I would have to attest to that because I've been out and about with you ladies at our own personal fun experiences, and you're getting a call and you have to go back.
Right.
Yeah. I've been, even with Allison, I've been around you ladies for years and I kind of know that's what you guys do. But you do it for us too.
Right.
You've helped serve where we're all doing a quick flip of the room and we're serving cheese curds or whatever.
Or I'm sending you out to go get a very special guest that played at the Premier Center to get water because we are not in town.
We are a partnership. And that's, we do a lot of events at the Hilton Garden in downtown. And that's one of the big reasons why. It's easy for us in that sense to sell it because of the relationship that we have, but also that you are willing to go the extra mile. And it's so different. Not a lot of venues are like that. There are, they do make those accommodations and they try to work with you as much as they can. But I think that's one of the things that sets you guys apart than any other venue.
And I think our location, hands down. We have a dedicated, patio for our events.
Yeah.
They're not sharing a patio.
Right.
We're grateful to have Crave, who's an amazing partner in our building, but they have their own patio, but our events have their outside space that they can go to and decorate and have for their guests alone. We do, we do a cigar and whiskey bar out there for the groomsmen.
That's awesome.
So that is nowhere else in Sioux Falls, overlooking the river, in downtown
It sells
Sioux Falls.
itself. It's you walk people out on the patio and they're like, wow.
What kind of events are you hosting down there? We, as you know, host mostly corporate nonprofit events, couple social things.
Right.
What would you say is the majority of the events that you host?
I would say our majority is probably corporate driven, corporate convention driven. I know people look at us as maybe a premier wedding venue, and we do take great pride in that. Yeah. And it's a great piece of business for us, but we love creating those relationships. So unfortunately, most of the time, weddings are one and done and your friends come later. Right. So we love our corporate clients and getting them to do things multiple years, conventions, having them repeat. We find those is very...
they're They're very beneficial.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you build that relationship and it's like, oh, hi, I'm so excited to work with you another year.
And you're honest about it though. Like your gratitude is true and it's real and it's genuine. And when you say that, like I think of Prairie Family Business, we've done it for so many years. I think of Ide Bailey, like Jessica, like we've all just gotten to know each other so well over these years. I'd still be your friend, you know, even if we, But I think that's beneficial because you really want them to grow and to succeed and trying to find out ways to maximize the space or do it differently. I remember when we first debuted the live sushi station. Remember that?
Yep.
And now people are doing it, which is awesome.
Right.
But you were willing to say, what if we did this and tried it out? And now it's a success and people love it.
And that's our job.
Yeah,
it's all about
which is awesome.
recreating. Recreate. We don't want people to get bored. We want to keep everything lively and fun for everyone.
So what would you say? I know you said like selecting dates is important, Maddie, but what would you say to those people that are last minute, need the space, and they have tight budgets? So I just gave you a real big doozy.
Ooh,
what would you say? Like how do you manage those?
Sunday or Monday work?
How do you manage those?
It's all about flexibility. I usually say right out front, what is your budget? And then here's what we can do, and this is how we can do it. And you're going to have to give and take a little bit. I'm not saying throw your budget out the window. You know, we really want you here. But just working with people and, again, sitting down, having the conversation of why is it last minute? What happened? What do you need? What is your budget? And then going from there.
But I think it's also having a little bit of a heart. You know, we run into these brides that are like, unfortunately, my dad was, diagnosed with cancer or, my venue fell through. So it's not only, we are a business. We have owners that we are responsible for. I wish we didn't. But
sorry for those of you that are listening to it.
But, we also then take a little bit of that, to heart.
Yeah,
and we want to make sure that we still can provide those people a great experience. But in the interview process or, those site visits, it's understanding we won't compromise our quality of service.
Right.
Either in food or the amount of time you get with us because of your budget.
Yeah.
So we may not be the best fit because we can't take Crave and make it half of what Crave truly is.
Yeah.
So, or the service that we provide.
Right. We talk about that too on our team. Like, it's not necessarily budget, but what are you willing to invest?
Right.
Like, it is last minute. We understand that. And what are you willing to invest to make it be the best possible event ever? I mean, we work with a lot of nonprofits as well. And we try, I mean, that's our big give back and our big heart to them as well. But like, what's their investment? What are they willing to do? And even if it is in a short amount of time, gosh, we've had people that reached out to us where it's 2 days prior to an event or
day of.
Yeah, you had day of, so good transition.
Make
day
it happen.
Yeah,
make it happen.
That's what
our owners always tell us.
Make it happen.
Make it happen, ladies.
So what I want to, when you talk about the making it happen and the 1 day thing, or even hours, really, like your give back to this community is so admirable. And that's, I think, we both have similar values and cultures, not only that we exude within our teams, but also with our clients. And that's, I think, why we attract the clients that we do. Right. So you guys give back in great ways to the community. Sarah, you were the founder, really, the brainchild behind Yoga on the Water. Share with our viewers and listeners what that's like, how long you've been doing it, when it happens, and why, the big why.
So, of course, events, hospitality can be stressful. So I'm a big yoga fan. I find that's really a great way just to kind of get into my body, into my head, and just get out of the rest of the world. So I go to Form Fitness. And so Allison and I, who Allison used to be our director of catering, she's now at our Sioux City location. She and I talked about what can we do to give back? We always truly believe we get so much from Sioux Falls. What can we do to give back? We think it's important to give as much as you get. So we came up with this little Yoga on the Water idea. And I'll tell you, year one and my partners, with Pinnacle and Form, like, we're like, this is crazy. Like, no one's coming. It's like the three of us.
How are we going to get people out here?
How are we going to do it? You know? And now we're in a year 3 and we average about 70 to 80 people on Wednesday nights. I think we've given back about $5,000 to different organizations. So awesome. And it was just fun, I mean, we are in it, and I think it's just little something we can do. And again, create our relationships with partners.
And it is, I mean, people they plan their schedules around it and want to be there. I know you guys have a great social media presence and you're putting pictures out there and you make people want to be a part of it, which is awesome. It's not just the yoga piece, but it's also that give back and what that looks like.
Absolutely.
So how long does it run?
So we are done. We have done it
summer's over.
of months, but we did it about three months this summer, and we've tried to go longer, but it seems to be that once school gets
starts,
back, we lose that kind of captive audience.
Can we do yoga on like the snowbank or something?
Oh my gosh.
Sled yoga.
I mean, I've even thought about like, how can we do bar on the bridge? I'm like,
oh yeah.
I mean, remember, we one time talked about doing a runway show on the bridge for a charity.
Sarah and I come up with a lot of crazy ideas. Actually, there's a lot of brainchild behind this business about Sarah too. There's so many stories.
Her wheels never stop.
That's why I don't ever sleep.
I know.
It's not abnormal to get an email from Sarah at about 4 a.m. of like, hey, we need to do this. I'm just telling you this now because otherwise I'll forget.
Well, I was talking to Chris from Express Copy and Printing recently too about, when we had the hot summer nights earlier this summer and it was flooded out in downtown Sioux Falls, so they couldn't host it. And they've been hosting this event for 50 plus years or something like that. And you guys came to the rescue for that. What was that like when you got the call? Because was it you, Maddie, or who did
Sarah got the call.
Okay.
And they were like, "What do you guys think about hosting
Make it happen.
the Corvette Classic tonight?"
Well, and we always get these calls. Unfortunately, it's like someone talked to one of our owners, and one of our owners called us. It's not like the direct contact reaches out. Yeah. So. Yes, I'm like, well, Maddie, and I was running somewhere. I'm like, here you go, and I passed it on.
I don't know what you were doing that day, but you're like, so make it happen. And we made a phone call, and we said, we have our underground parking garage. Not a lot of people
we had a big
know
band
about it.
in town that was taking all our rooms, so no one was parking our parking garage.
Didn't have a lot of guests besides that VIP group, so it's like, why don't you guys come on down, drive your Corvettes underground? They're not going to get wet. People can still be out and enjoying themselves, looking at all these awesome cars. It was really cool to check out all those cars. And then our ballroom was open that evening. It always kind of works out that way where when we need to step in and someone needs help, it just magically happens where it's like, this will work.
Right.
So it's just a couple phone calls. I mean, you kind of dedicate a little bit of your time during that day. It's like, if we're going to make this happen, we got to commit to it. We need to make some phone calls and do what it takes. And
we have great team members. We reached out to our maintenance department. We reached out to our partners in the CNA building, Lloyd Companies, and I think within an hour, the Lloyds had given us 5 people, and they were power washing the garages. And Craig Lloyd was getting his lower level out so that people could park all the way through. So we really have some great partners in downtown that we can reach out to, and we could talk about a multitude of people that kind of come through with us.
Yeah, it's a community around us. Absolutely. When we call them neighbors, they really are neighbors.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like that too. I mean, being in the downtown area, you are. I'm not going to say like a city within the city, but you truly are partners.
We're a destination. I always say that we're a destination within our city.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Oh, boy.
Look at your face. We just ended very abruptly there. But
wrap.
And game face. Let's go.
So each week when we have guests on, we kind of turn the tables a little bit, and I want to hear more from you two about your top 10 things. So I'm going to ask you one question.
I feel like I should have you answer these about me.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't that
it's
be
like
fun?
the newlywed game.
With our backs to each other. Should we have our backs to each other? So these are just quick top 10s. You've had no time to think about these. So I want to hear from you, and then back and forth. I may add some commentary. We'll see.
Oh, boy.
Don't age me. Don't age me.
These are just fun get to know yous. No aging. No aging.
Don't age me.
What is your favorite color? Like if we can't see right now, what is your favorite color?
Black.
Yeah.
Very slimming.
I'm a pink girl, honestly. Like I don't wear a lot of black, but we kind of wanted to match today. I'm a pink girl.
Good.
For sure.
What's your favorite all-time movie?
16 Candles. I heart Jake Ryan.
I love it. What's happening? Hot stuff. I love it.
What's 16 Candles?
Oh, of course. Long Duck Dong. Are you kidding me? No, you're kidding, right?
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I've seen 16 Candles.
Allison has never seen Top Gun yet. So
What?
I have, but I just saw it, like 2 summers ago.
You're
I
kidding.
I just saw it. One thing that always
Movie
kind
night,
of
ladies.
joked or was kind of funny is, well, the first Make and Trust team would always make fun of me because I had never seen it.
Right.
And Brian Thompson, the CEO of the company, sent me this picture one time of Tom Cruise and whoever else playing volleyball in their denim. In their denim? Like, what? It doesn't make sense. So then I watched it that summer. So I'm all Top Gunned up.
Yep. Yum.
Favorite
I don't
movie?
know if I could pick. I'm such a movie girl. I could probably like name 10.
You get one.
One.
Mad.
I'm a big fan of the Batman movies, honestly.
Oh.
Batman. Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't have suspected.
I didn't even know that.
What would be one song on the soundtrack of your life?
I'm gonna say it. I'm a bitch.
Oh yeah, for sure she is. She can be.
Sorry.
She can be.
But then I should probably say a really good one because
Yeah, you
my
are.
bosses are probably
You are.
listening.
You are. Who
Life
you
is a
are.
highway.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go.
Like the Cars movie, like when they sing in the car, Rascal Flatts
Rascal
version?
Flatts?
No, I think there's a different.
Yeah, there is
Isn't
the
there
older
an
one.
older
Yeah,
version?
yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Maddie,
Oh,
one song on the
goodness.
soundtrack of your life.
I hate being put on the spot. Girls just want to have fun.
Oh yeah, love it.
I'm always the fun friend. It's like, let's go.
What's your favorite time of the year, Sarah Mogg?
Fall. Football fall.
Mm-hmm.
Summer. I'm a summer girl.
What is the favorite place where you've traveled?
I love Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Kansas City girl. Through and through.
We're going there in a couple weeks. Yeah, yep, we are. What is your favorite aisle in the grocery store?
Something salty. The chip aisle.
Oh my God.
You're the chip aisle.
How about just the salt
And
section?
she likes salsa, guacamole,
Yes.
chips.
Anything.
Oh, do you know that our favorite chips are those ghost pepper ones from Trader Joe's?
So good. Do they still have them?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just there. Yep.
I think one time I went to Trader Joe's for you and I bought like the whole entire,
Yeah.
like I picked out the boxes in the back.
We
of the
told
shelf. I
Jess
was like,
Muslar
"Are
to
there
go
any
get them
more
too. Remember that?
Ghost pepper chips. I need all of them in
yes.
this building. Mine's definitely the candy aisle. I have a huge sweet tooth.
Oh.
Wow, a lot
for
of people have said the candy
sure.
aisle.
Uh-huh.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Invisible.
Mind reading.
Ooh. If you could share a meal with one person, living or dead, who would it be?
My grandma Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I was going to say Ellen DeGeneres. I think she's awesome.
Ooh, yeah, the dancing. Mm-hmm. If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Chips and salsa, baby.
Yeah, we know. I know.
You're like, I got that one right.
One food.
One food for the rest of your life.
Probably sushi.
Oh, I was thinking
Oh.
to cake.
Oh, yeah, cakes. Cake. Can we have a sushi cake?
Sure.
What would be your best piece of advice? One piece of advice to anybody.
Never give up and work hard.
I would say life's too short.
Do you know what, Maddie? I just said that when they asked me the questions just recently.
Really?
Yeah.
This is why I like you so
Aw.
much. Life's too short.
Ugh.
This is a love fest. I love it. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining
Thank
me
you.
today. Thank you for doing the good work every day in and day out. And I look forward to our next event together.
Woohoo.
Yay.
Girls' night.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Good Work. Thank you also to Sarah, my bestie, and Maddie for joining us and providing their expertise on selecting the perfect venue. Their give back to the Sioux Falls community is admirable, and we are honored to plan events alongside them. Tune in next week as the team at the event company talks about outdoor events and all of the details that come along with it. Don't forget to subscribe to The Good Work on YouTube and iTunes, and follow the event company on social media to stay up to date on the good work that we are part of each day.